Okay, you can let her know we're starting. Hi. Well, here we are. Hi there. Welcome once again, everybody, to Cast Iron Wednesday. And we say this every week because you know what? There's a Wednesday in every week. But also, as you know, a lot of YouTube cooking channels, they do something in cast iron on Wednesdays. What usually cooking videos or about the usual about cleaning and identifying and taking care of cast iron. Basically, we have fun with cast iron on Wednesdays, and why not? And so, welcome again to my YouTube channel, Cast Iron Chaos. Thank you very much to everybody who has shown up and for some reason continues to show up. And I can only thank everybody, as always, who who is kind enough to show up here. Like Jeffrey Neely, who says, "Wow, just picked one up at a thrift store for a couple of bucks, like new, never used." I'm presuming that would be a cast iron pan. Also, 3 Christmas tree molds in original boxes. Great score. Hey, that sounds pretty good. Hello, Granny Graham and Sam Cook. Yes, and again, congratulations to Sam Cook for winning that cast iron cake pan yesterday. And he writes here, I never used a cookie mold other than the giant cookies that Walmart sells around Christmas. I got the Darth Vader one last year. Sadly, only used it a couple of times. Well, first of all, I understand, yeah, because you did win that cast iron cake pan. Well, I can only hope I can only hope that it gets a lot of use. But of course, I'm not trying to pressure anyone. I mean, after all, you can do it with it what you want. Once you receive it, it is yours, and you can do it. You can, I don't know, put it on a nightstand, use it as a doorstop, shoot holes in it with a gun. Though I hope you don't. And of course, you can bake with it. And for the record, I think I should clarify here, even though I love making stuff from scratch, and so do a lot of the people here, and thank you very much for that, there is nothing wrong with using store-bought mixes, like store-bought cake mix, for instance, or store-bought cookie dough, if you want to do baking in that manner. So, I mean, as anybody knows, it's better when you do it from scratch. But not everyone really has the time or the incentive to do it from scratch, and there is nothing wrong with using store-bought cake mix and box mix and the like. So, yeah, we'll probably be covering that as well. So, hey, you seem rather this evening. Yes, hello as well, Granny Graham. JD Hive for John and Kim and Kum Look and Flash 1499. Dr. M, you could make a fluted cake pan made of lead. Well, if he wants to, he can. You could also roast a chicken in that cake pan. That's one thing that's become something of a fad for people who use those things, and not necessarily in cast iron either. And I have not done. No, that's true. Not true. I actually did roast it in one once. So. But anyway, yeah, once again, as we mentioned, now tonight, of course, been playing this for a couple of weeks. We are going to be doing a little bit of baking tonight because, after all, as you know, the holidays are here. Oh boy, we are 10 days from Christmas, and so of course everybody is almost everybody is preparing for that big day, and discussion of that can be taken somewhere else. Yeah, basically, we're just having a lot of fun here. And of course, cast iron baking is one thing that a lot of people do around this time of year. I'm sorry? Okay, Jamie wants to say one thing.
Congratulations, Sam Cook.
Congratulations, Sam Cook, she says. So, William Hurt says, saw a video where someone shot through a number of pans, didn't watch it. Yeah, there are unfortunately several hundred of those videos on the internet where people shoot cast iron pans with guns, and a couple of them have gotten like 30 or 40 million views too. No, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. Yeah, you need knobs on your cabinet doors. Well, they're cheap cabinets. I don't deny that. So, but anyway, as I mentioned, yeah, we're doing some baking tonight, and that gives me an excuse to pull out a few things that we see these all the time at like antique malls and the like. And how often do we actually see people using them? And I'm talking about things like this, a John Wright cast iron cookie mold. And hey, this turned out pretty darn good too, if you don't mind my saying so. This one here is their animal cracker mold. And this is one of 3 that I scored on my road trip throughout New York in the middle of summer. 3 different places I found these things, each for about $10. So, which just shows you as well. The vendors don't really care too much about these John Wright pans. They look very nice, but almost always you can find them at a pretty good price. And like for instance, here's another one that I intend on getting some use out of because tonight's the night for it, and that is the Gingerbread Man Mold. So, yeah, I've got for the record, I actually was smart enough for once to make my cookie dough in advance. So we're not going to spend half of this live here just simply mixing cookie dough. It's already chilling in the fridge. And of course, there was this one, yeah, which I also found for $10. So, yeah, so you better believe I'm impressed with this one. The Santa Claus, the sleigh, the toys in a sleigh mold. So, yeah, we'll be doing a few cookies in this tonight. I've got some shortbread dough and some gingerbread dough. So, hello, Shadow Walker XM. It's almost on tin. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Pig tooth. It is organic and gluten free, too. Well, the cast iron is. I can't say that much about the cookies. So, yeah. But yeah, these are really attractive pans. And funny, it's like we see people acquiring these things, and I really don't see many instances, unfortunately, of people baking in these things, and so that's one reason why I wanted to pull this out. Yeah, and Ni, I guess, or NL. I use the John Wright flower-shaped muffin and shell pans. They turn out beautiful. Oh, that sounds great, and I'd love to see some pictures of these. You can always post them on the Cast Iron Cooking group on Facebook. So, yeah. Well, rather than just stand around and talk, I think I will get started, and then we can do We can do a little bit more talking about John Wright or other kinds of baking in cast iron as well. I mean, there are a lot of other pans, for instance, out there that can be used for baking as well as the usual frying, for instance. So, yeah, if you make videos, why not? YouTube is big and there's room enough for everybody. So, 2 things. Let's pull in our camera. Here we go again. And get a nice shot of some of these baking molds here. I already have the oven preheated as well. Where can you buy them? Well, give me a second to get the cookie dough, and I'll talk a little bit about that. All right, just got to get this stuff out of the fridge here. Okay, 1 and 2. Well, this shortbread is certainly okay. So here's half. The other half is in the fridge still. We have some gingerbread cookie dough and some shortbread cookie dough. And the first thing, of course, is we've got to start greasing these pans here. So let's not waste any time with that. I'm sorry. Well, actually, I'm just taking it easy tonight and pulling out the margarine. So, no, we could do that too. But yeah. Yeah, but I've actually liked using margarine here for greasing my molds. I mean, after all, margarine really is just vegetable oil or canola oil. I won't even ask what this is. And I am not interested in some debates about the healthiness of margarine. That's something for another time. Let's just suffice to say, yes, margarine is mostly vegetable oil, and that means it's really especially good, I find, for greasing these molds like this because it gives a nice, well, if you can taste it at all, that is, it gives a nice buttery flavor, which is better than greasing these things with, with shortening. Not that there's anything wrong with that, or even lard. So, yeah. And of course, the real fun part about these intricate things is that you've got to get the grease or the oil into every crevice.
Oh, you know what? You know what? Actually, you might want to do is pre-spray this, but you know what I'm trying to say, right?
Use the spray stuff
first.
Yeah.
Get it in the creases, just lightly. You know?
I think I'll just.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
That's heavy.
Well,
Go over it with a paper towel.
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Yeah.
So.
You might want to Have you shown you if I showed you how I do it?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I
You
put it on a
use,
paper towel.
yes, I was gonna say you put it on a paper towel.
Yeah,
That's true.
Instead, yeah.
All right. Well, if you want, pass me a paper towel.
Here you go.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you reminded me because
Yeah.
I have done this before, and so have you.
Yeah.
So yeah, one way to
Yeah.
do it, as you pointed out, is use a paper towel here,
That way.
which probably does get this done a little faster, at least. So.
Well, you only have a silicone brush. You don't
Yeah.
have bigger brushes, do you?
Dr. M, I was averse to the cost of Kerrygold butter, but wow, is that good butter. And William Hurd, not much on baking myself. Oven doesn't even work. I depend on the kindness of others. Yeah, there are reasons why, of course.
Oh, then I'm glad you didn't win the bun pan.
Yeah.
It would have went to waste.
Well, I mean, there are reasons why not everybody uses these kind of cast iron baking molds, and I will admit they're not for everyone. In the past 10 years or so, I've managed to acquire 3 of those John Wright molds, plus a couple of other. Yes.
Help us get this shown over.
All right.
Which one are you doing now?
Well, I'm doing this one. You can grab either
What
one.
are you doing? Shortbread or gingerbread?
Right now I'm
Here,
gonna start
look
with
this
shortbread.
one.
Okay.
Well, this will be ready for afterwards.
Okay.
This one's kind of more.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, of course, as I said, we gotta get this into every crevice and
Yeah, this is a little bit. I would spray this one.
yeah.
No, this one's kind of hard because you're gonna have to.
Yes. So yeah, this is definitely the least fun part, and maybe this is one reason why, even though baking is really not that hard, maybe this is one reason why a lot of people are well, I was gonna say a lot of people are reluctant to do it at all. So
I was just messing with you. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, it's all right. It's all right. But there we go. There's one. So we're So we've got, and thank you very much.
You're welcome. You want to hit me the other one? I'll get it done real quick.
All right. Here's the here's the animal cracker mold.
Because it may not look like, okay, so you're not going to see a lot of it, but it's there. You know what I mean? The coating is there. It doesn't have to be white to be coated. You know.
Right.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. Drop that. So much for that. Okay. I'm really just having some trouble getting into this crevice. There we go. That's a little better.
Okay.
Anyway, the point is, of course, is that this is going to melt as it bakes. So that's why, again, the buttery flavor will certainly help make it taste okay, at least. So, all right. Thank you. Well, thank you again. Thank you so much. Okay, let us start with some of this shortbread dough here. Peg tooth. I'm in a mega dilemma. I have a deer roast, but it accidentally thawed out. Now my oven is not working. I have a small enamel Dutch oven. Can roast be cooked without it turning to leather? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Yeah, you could even do it on the stove top. But the real trick is low and slow. That's probably the best way to describe it. So use a low temperature, and then you'll be sure to and cook it for a long time, and cover it as well to braise it, and it'll be good enough that it should be done so that it won't turn to leather, and in fact it should be falling apart.
You also might want to brown it before you do that.
Yes, brown it first. Yeah, that's the thing.
You're gonna seal it in.
Yeah, sear it in a big cast iron skillet first, and then or even sear it in the Dutch oven. Why not? I mean,
you keep the flavor that
yes,
way.
exactly. And then after that, you turn the heat down really low. Like maybe 225 to 250 degrees, and do it for a few hours, maybe 5-6 hours or so.
Put some liquid in it because deer is really lean. You probably definitely want to put a little bit of liquid in it for some moisture, because otherwise it will dry out. But yeah,
right. Look up a few recipes as well, because a lot of people have made deer. There's no denying that. I've had venison. Oh man, do I love venison!
Listen, when they were first cooking it, they didn't cook it in an oven. You know what I mean? You gotta think, especially back in the cast iron days, maybe there wasn't a lot of ovens.
That's certainly true.
All right, my hands are done.
That's
I got this done anyway.
Okay,
so,
well, thank you very, very much. Okay. Yeah, we're off to a good start here, thanks to you. So, not to worry. Thank you so much. And yeah, like I said, I mean, it was very easy to put together this dough. Shortbread is probably among the world's easiest cookies to make. I've said many times how I'm not a professional, so I'm quite happy using a very simple
I
shortbread.
don't know why I forget that every damn time.
A very simple shortbread recipe here, and which also means it's not going to take long to bake either. So, I mean, once this is in the oven, it's only going to have to be like maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so. What I've got to watch, of course, is the fact that we are cooking this in cast iron. That means it does take longer to heat up, but of course, it holds the heat. And then in that case, it should be done especially on the bottom. And that's the part that I'm looking forward to. Hi. Yeah. Hello, Papa Dan.
Hey, Papa
Yeah, who
Dan.
says hello to Jamie and everybody. Late checking in on parents. Yeah, I hope your parents are doing okay, Papa Dan. Is Silver Paradox? Is this gingerbread? Well, this is shortbread, actually. Although actually, fool that I am, I don't know why I always try to be different. I found a recipe for so-called Scottish brown sugar shortbread, so that it's actually shortbread cookies made with brown sugar rather than your usual white sugar. Yeah. Yeah, so in other words, it's like these cookies will have a 10 no matter what. And says pull it out early and let it rest. I presume you're talking about the roast, and yeah, that's it.
Also, shit, this is not that kind of channel.
Yes. Oh, yeah. This is not that kind of channel. However, I believe you were talking about the roast when you said that. So, and yeah, thanks everyone. Yeah, Peg Tooth. Yeah, I would say go ahead and give it a try. Yeah, I do understand. I know a deer roast is something you really don't want to mess up because it's not easy to get another one, if just in case. But I can only say two things: low and slow, and watch the temperature.
I can say two things. Definitely sear it to lock in the moisture, and definitely a little bit of liquid in the bottom.
Yeah.
Because you don't want it to dry out.
No, that's right. Yeah, sear it to lock in the moisture, and put a little bit of liquid in the bottom.
Maybe even some beef stock.
Yeah, maybe some beef stock, for instance. So, the French, of course, would say to put wine in it, but on the other hand, you don't want too strong a flavor because venison is very good on its own. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what she said, Silver Paradox. I like cooking with brown sugar. It gives cookies a great taste, imho, in my humble opinion. And I can only agree with that, Terry Sinchef. For the record, yeah, we always use dark brown sugar here. I mean, I'm the only time I ever get light brown sugar is when they're out of dark brown sugar, because it's one of those things. Maybe because I'm not really a professional baker, I have yet really to have any reason to specifically get light brown sugar. And yes, dark brown sugar does taste much better because, of course, it has a higher molasses content. But yes, so there we go. We've got one here done already. Thank you for waiting. Maybe I put a little bit more into this one. This one is the Santa Claus sleigh mold. So that's one. Now let's get down to the animal crackers. And that will be number 2. Boy, definitely. I mean, this is only half of the batch of cookie dough I made. The other half is still chilling in the fridge. So there is going to be a lot of cookie dough here. Fortunately, we do have a few other pans to use up as well as these. So, yeah, that's right. You like taking the gingerbread dough and putting it in and mixing it in with ice cream. Yeah, that is definitely something. Somebody had asked about these particular cookie molds or these baking molds. You can make more than cookies in them. And the question was, where can I buy them? Well, let's try it this way. These were made in the 1980s by the John Wright Company of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And they are a company that's actually been around since the 19th century, but for most of their history, they only made and continue to make, they're still in business. They continue to make things like pieces for the home, like for instance, door handles, window shades, that kind of thing. They do knickknacks and the like. During the 1980s, they tried to expand their business by producing these cast iron baking molds. And they made a heck of a lot of these molds in many, many different designs. That's why you can find them just about everywhere. However, unfortunately, it didn't seem like that it gave them as much business as they would have liked, because they stopped making these somewhere after about 10 years or so, like around the beginning of the 1990s. They stopped making these baking molds. And yet, there are so many of these things around out there that they're still very, very easy to find. In fact, the John Wright Company still has a very few of these for sale on their website right now. We're talking like 30 to 40 years after they were made, which shows you that unfortunately, yeah, they were not as popular as they would have liked. Otherwise, you can bet they would have kept on making them. That's also why they are so easy to find. So where to find them? Well, it's almost impossible to find them brand new at this point. But if you look on, for instance, on eBay for John Wright cast iron molds, you will see a lot of these for sale. Of course, on eBay, just about everything is overpriced. Some people sell these things for anywhere for $50, $75, $100 and more. On the other hand, even on eBay, you can find these things often selling at very, very low prices. Maybe $10 or $20 for a pair. Just be patient as always. And likewise, you can also scout out around in the usual places, flea markets, antique malls, and the like. Oh my, I've actually used up all of this batch here. Nice. In that case, it's time to break out the gingerbread, and we'll do the other one. Um, of course, again, but if there's any advice I'd like to give about finding these John Wright molds, is just that, because they are so easy to find, and because they are, you can find them just about everywhere, and just some patience will land you a good deal. If you see these things selling for, what you think is too expensive, don't get them, because there's almost certainly another opportunity will come up. As I mentioned, I found these things for like about $10 each. So, and I suppose for some folks, even if you found one of these things for $20, you'd probably consider that a good bargain, and it may very well be. Here's the gingerbread, by the way. The gingerbread, I used a traditional recipe, but it's certainly should be interesting. Besides having a lot of molasses and a lot of ginger in it, of course, we also spice it up with a little bit of allspice and cloves and a lot of cinnamon. So these are going to be soft gingerbread cookies. They're not going to be ginger snaps, although that's another thing I should try making at some point. But anyway, that's a very brief mention of the John Wright Company and these cast iron baking molds here. But as I said, even among cast iron collectors today, John Wright really does not get the attention it deserves, I think. A lot of cast iron collectors pass up on these things. And even though a lot of people probably own one or two of these, I had three, but after getting three more this summer, well, now I have six. You will not see people talking about these things in the same manner they would talk about Wagner and Griswold, especially the antique dealers, the ones who insist that everything is a Griswold if it's unmarked, for instance. You're never going to see one. In fact, it wouldn't be surprised if you look at a John Wright mold and said, I hear Griswold made these. So, but that's how it goes. So here is number 2. Looks like we got a little bit of each, a little bit of dark and white. And okay, I think I'll say it once and once only. I am not interested in some kind of irony about racism or anything like that, especially because I'm making gingerbread right now. I'm not even going to bring that subject up anymore after this. So I'm done. I'm done talking about that already. Still, this really isn't so hard. And as I mentioned, for those who may have only gotten those those Walmart cast iron cookies and then use the store-bought cookie mix and maybe never use them again, I can only encourage you to try making your own cookie dough because it really is that easy. The shortbread, for instance, had all of about 3 ingredients: a lot of flour, a lot of butter, and some salt, or in this case, brown sugar. Oh yeah, I can't forget the sugar. A lot of flour, a lot of sugar. I'm sorry, and a lot of flour and some salt.
The peanut butter cookie mix, the recipe that I have, the easiest peanut butter cookies.
Yes.
That would work in those molds too.
Oh yeah, definitely would. Yeah,
Yep.
Jamie has her own recipe. Well,
It's not mine.
yeah. Jamie uses a very popular and easy recipe. And I actually made a little video of that when I found that United States cast iron pan last year. And that is a simple recipe right there. It consists of 1 cup of peanut butter, 1 cup of flour. No flour.
Peanut butter, 1 cup of sugar, and an egg.
Thank you. 1 cup of peanut butter, 1 cup of sugar, and an egg. No flour, in fact.
Yeah.
So.
It's crazy. And then I add chocolate chips to half of it. So I make a chocolate and peanut butter one.
Mm-hmm.
I melt chocolate chips and mix it in.
Yep. So it really is that easy. And yeah, since I'm not spending the entire live putting this together, that means in a couple of minutes, these will be done and they'll be in the oven. And then I'll be able to talk more about the comments and more about cast iron. Oh, we're out of peanut butter. We do have Nutella. No, it's a different consistency. That's true. So, but not to worry. In fact, because I have plenty more cookie dough. This is only half of all of that cookie dough I made, and we've got a lot of gingerbread left over, and we are about to fill up the 3rd pan, the Gingerbread Man pan. But fortunately, I do have other pans here to show off as well. Okay, and I can't resist nibbling on a little bit of this cookie dough. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not my gumdrop buttons. Oh, this is good stuff, even before baking. Definitely looking forward to this. Cram a little bit more in here. Maybe transplant a little bit from here to here. And we're up to a pretty decent start. Now I just gotta wipe my hands off a little bit. The oven has been preheating to 325 degrees. Where did I put that cover for the margarine? It's around here somewhere. I'll find it. Other than that, here we go. Here is our Gingerbread Man pan. Here is our animal cracker pan. And the toys in a sleigh. So now let's change over and get these things in the oven. Okay, there we go. Now comes this view again. As I've said before, this is definitely not a professional production here. Okay, let's start off with the sleigh. Oh crap! I left that in the oven. I better take that out carefully. I left one of the cake pans in the oven. Whoops. Okay. I forgot all about that. I washed it and put it in there to dry. So that's one. Now I've got to do this quickly. That was the Monarch pan, in fact. I completely forgot about this and left it in the oven. All right. Anyway, that's one. Now, yeah, that was hot. Now for the animal cracker mold. That's number 2. Be careful here. I really don't feel like burning myself. Finally, number 3, the Gingerbread Man. Okay, and in we go to bake. So we are off to a start at least. Oh, here's that cover for the margarine. Thank goodness. Okay. Now let's bring back the view here because actually let's change the view over a little bit because I've got a couple of other things I could show off while we are waiting here. There we go. Here's the rest of that gingerbread mix, which I still have to use, in fact. So, but that was hardly the only baking pan. That was hardly the only baking pan I've done. So anyway, yeah, Shadow Walker XM, resistance is futile. That fluted cake pan is good. Yes, this is the one that I will be boxing up for shipping tomorrow for Sam Cook. And again, congratulations. Louis J. Cast Iron Cooking, hello, and hello, welcome again. Yeah, no gloves. Okay. Oh yeah, wanted to trim them with a knife. Yeah, I did forget to trim the top of that, didn't I? So shows you again how much of an amateur I am. I should have run a like a knife or something over the top of that to smooth that out, and I completely forgot. My bad again. That's partly because I'm doing this live here. Always tends to make me rush things a little bit, unfortunately. So okay, Shadow Walker XM, my OCD is really kicking in. I want to go over those filled molds with a rolling pin to make them perfectly flat and even. Oh, that was also a good idea. Oh man, that's what I get for doing this without looking at the comments. All of these are really good ideas, unfortunately, or fortunately. So I have a large cactus mold. It's a fun baking pan, says Lawrence Larson. Bacon grease ginger cookies? No, fortunately, we're not going to be doing that tonight. William Hurt, my mom used to make peanut butter cookies. So, yeah, when I burn sugar cookies, it's the black face of white sugar. Okay, yeah. I'll admit I'm not one for the cast iron baking pans, just less interesting to me. I think a lot of people are like that. Yeah, there is that. So, that's just it. Papa Dan, never seen a John Wright in the wild in northern Louisiana. We have a lot of good things in Louisiana, but not everything. So I do admit it does vary from place to place. Speaking of which, if you'll notice while I'm waiting, no trim more cookies. Yeah, I can certainly do that because as you can see, I've got a few more molds right here. This is one I acquired about a year or so ago, and I paid $5 for this. This is another John Wright, an alphabet cookie mold. Made a video of making cookies in this, and we could always do some more. Meanwhile, here's another pan that some folks have seen, and I can't recall anyone ever showing off some actual baking in this. And I suppose, Christmas, some people could say the fish theme actually goes with it. Yeah, and what is this anyway? This is a cast iron mold that was sold very briefly in the early 1980s. It was sold at all places at Eddie Bauer, which used to be a clothing store. Maybe it still was or still is. And this is such an unusual pan. For the longest time, the cast iron collectors really were not sure if this was made by Lodge or BSR, Birmingham Stove and Range. Within the last couple of years, there have been comments from folks who work at Lodge saying, we made them. Lodge says they still have the patterns for this pan in their vault. It could be argued that maybe it might have been produced initially by Birmingham Stove and Range, especially because this has the same shape, especially the handle, as the BSR pan, especially the Handy Dan cornstick pan. But this is such an unusual pan, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually baking in this. So you know what? How about we actually bake in it? What a concept. Let's pull this over here. And I guess we're going to make some gingerbread fish. Clear this off a little bit. So this is going to be a little unusual. And by the way, I should have taken account of the time. It's been what? Maybe a little less. It says 8:34 right now. That means I should definitely start checking these by about 8:50. All right, that means let's do this once again, shall we? Just my own compulsion. Well, now that we've done this, I think I will take all of your suggestions to heart, which is because I should have done that in the first place. We generously grease this thing, especially in the crevices. This does not have as many crevices as that John Wright mold, thank goodness. But even so, this is going to be interesting. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. All right. Yeah, that's not bad. We're already halfway done with it. So, but seriously, as far as that fluted cake pan goes, well, I mean, if you want to give that a try, start off with some box cake mix, and you can certainly do so because, again, it is yours, and you will be free to do whatever you want with it. Okay. Yeah, I had a neighbor, in fact, who looked at my collection a couple of weeks ago and asked to borrow one of the cast iron cake pans to make a cake, and I actually refused politely. Not because, oh, it's mine or it's valuable or anything like that, but she had never cooked in cast iron before, and I was more worried that her cake would stick more than anything else. And I told her as much that unfortunately there is something of a learning curve for baking in cast iron. And so, especially the first time, if you're making a cake for a special occasion, you should really go with what you know and don't experiment like baking in cast iron for the first time. Even though I've broken that rule and I've experimented a few times, that, for instance, that's why I've had bad luck doing birthday cakes. Almost every birthday cake I have ever made in my cast iron has had something go wrong. I don't know what it is about birthday cakes, but I just have not had much luck in it. Nonetheless, now that we've done this, okay. There we go. Okay, yeah, this one doesn't look like but it's definitely greased, no question about that. Now we get to put the rest of this gingerbread in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and continue from there. All of which, again, you all gave some very good comments that I should have noticed before I put those things in the oven. That was entirely my fault, and as I said, I will point out again that since I'm just an amateur baker, these are things I should have known right from the start. I have made cookies before, and I have actually done that. I just plain simply forgot. Looks like I've actually run out of the gingerbread, so I think I'm gonna have to go and pull the other one out of the fridge. So we are off to a good start right there. Give me about a moment, please, to get these out of the fridge. Here we are. Here is another. All right, I give you that one. I'd never heard of that. Shadow Walker XM. I'll check the comments there in a moment. Draft Jamie as a comment editor. Yeah, I certainly should. She actually has her own engagement that she is working on right now. Funny, this actually looks like a different color, yet it came from the same batch. Maybe because it's still chilled. In fact, I would not be surprised at all if that's the reason why. So anyway, once this is all pressed down in the pan, I will then use the rolling pin, which is what I should have done. I'll also poke these with a fork, which is what I also should have done. Yeah, because that apparently helps to be sure that the cookies bake all the way through. And the last time I did that, I did find out it does not produce holes in the top of the cookie, because the stuff does actually expand as it bakes. After all, there is baking soda in it. So there's one. You all had, and let me see while I'm waiting here. Ah, cornbread. Oh yeah, yeah. You could very well make cornbread in this. You could make cornbread in any of those cookie molds, actually. Yeah, even those other ones, like that alphabet pan there, alphabet shaped cornbread. Yeah, that might be interesting. Especially if you do it right so that it just falls right out of the pan. Terry Sinchef, I like that fish pan. After baking, I would put two together like an Oreo. Hey, that's actually not a bad idea in itself either. So yeah, maybe even put some cream cheese frosting in the center, and then have yourself, like you said, a gingerbread Oreo cookie, which actually sounds like a plan now that you mention it. And now we are almost done here. And this time I'm going to do exactly what everybody said. So thank you once again to everybody for your advice. All right, that means, oops, I'm not quite done. This looks like just a little bit more. Yeah, I think it was because it was chilled, because it does seem like that as it warms up a little bit, I think the color is changing because it seems to be matching the others. So that it's hard to tell which was the first batch and which is this second batch. So there we go. Off to a pretty good start. Let me put this to one side and wash my hands quickly. Then from there, I think I'd better do one other thing, and that's dig out the wax paper. Let's see, there it is under here. Yes, I think that's, there it is. Okay. Come on. Wax paper. All right. Now that we've done that, we can dig out the exactly as you said. Yeah, I can tell already this is going to be better than the first batch for precisely that reason. So there we are. We're off to a start. Of course, this is also going to get this all over the place, which means the next thing I have to do, wow, big difference if you ask me. The next thing I have to do, pull out a butter knife and scrape a little bit. Oh, this shows that this part here could actually stand to use a little bit more, shouldn't it? Well then, fortunately we have this. There we go. We can press this down. So, there's one. And two. This is going to expand as it bakes. So here's three. Boy, look how much we're scraping off here. Thanks to your advice, everyone. And four. We've got all this already here. Might even stick a little bit more back in fact, for that reason. All right, there we are. And likewise the other side. Two, three, and four. There we go. Not a bad start now. In fact, it looks like I should probably stick a little bit more back in, and then maybe give it another go with the rolling pin for the same reason. Okay, so let's put this thing back on. Give it another go with the rolling pin here. All right, there we go. So, thanks to your advice, I think these are looking pretty good. Now there's one more thing as well.
What did you do?
Oh no, this time I actually scraped off the top and
I was telling you that before.
do it with a
Last time
rolling
we made it
pin.
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember I told you that before?
Now we also
When we did the gingerbread house?
stick a fork in it. I'm not sure if I'm actually. Besides, I think I've actually used more of the gingerbread than I expected. Here, this is the rest of it of all the second
that's plenty
batch.
for ice cream. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, okay,
Yeah.
for ice cream. So yeah, last time I tried making a gingerbread house, my
They still rise up though. Remember because we did cut the
yes,
tops off.
yes,
And
they
still
did.
rise.
Oh yes, I'm not worried about that part. I'm worried about my attempt at decorating it. So when I made a gingerbread house, I actually
nailed it.
yes,
Nailed
exactly. I did actually post that on my Facebook too, although
Nailed
that
it.
was a couple of years ago. Still, nonetheless,
It was like
per
I wanted to be like, so my niece came over
yes.
and helped us with the gingerbread house. Didn't she do a
There
great
we
job?
go. Okay, well, per everybody's suggestion, I could probably poke a few more holes in it. Stick it with a fork. Make sure it's dead.
You probably needed a couple. But
There we go. Okay, but anyway, thanks to everybody's advice. Here is the next batch. We've got some gingerbread fish that will be going in. And in about 4 minutes, why are you poking them with a fork?
Make sure they're done.
Yes, well, yeah, to make sure they're done.
No, make sure they're dead.
Yeah, make sure they're dead.
Yeah.
However, the other reason is, at least this is what I've read in my research on this, is that doing this will help them bake thoroughly, because it'll help get the heat into the center as well as on the top and the bottom. Also,
it's going to release any steam that's going to help it from not rising. Because gingerbread, you don't want it to rise too much because you want gingerbread to be very, very flat.
Okay, so, there's a very good point for you.
When you cook, you bake cookies, usually they rise up and they bake and they have a curved top.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't want gingerbread to do that because you want to have them flat. Because you're going to use the opposite side. The mold side is going to be so that the top part here is not going to be the top part anymore. It's going to be the bottom.
Yes, it
will.
So
the bottom part's rounded. Nobody wants to take a cookie rasp to every single piece.
Mm-hmm.
So you want them to be flat. Mm-hmm. So by poking holes in it, it releases the steam that's built up so it doesn't rise.
William Hurt suggested with this one in particular that we put two of these together like a sandwich and put cream between them.
Fish sandwich.
Mm-hmm. Fish sandwich,
yes.
Like poking pizza crust, yes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Michelle Parker says, I live in North Louisiana, Papa Dan. There are some John Wright pieces to be found. I have 3 or 4 and have probably sold that many. Yeah, and yeah, these things are very attractive too. I don't deny the appeal either. So I actually remember way back in the 1980s at work browsing through CVS during my lunch. I remember seeing that Gingerbread House mold. And I think even back then I was tempted to get it, but I didn't because I told myself, I can't bake. So okay, I have meanwhile, James Ramsdale, I have an unmarked Wagner number 6 that makes the best cakes and pies. Want to get a second just to see if it's the pan. Yeah, that is definitely a goal to shoot for. No denying about that. We're starting to smell the cookies. I had better get this stuff out of the way so that we'll be ready to take these out of the oven. Let me get this away, and this I'm going to put over here. And then, just as important, get out some trivets because these are some these are some heavy pans. So, get out some trivets. I know I've shown these off before. I like these trivets. I find them very appealing. Okay, so far so good. Put it in the oven and have a quickie. Careful, I mean, as we said, that's not kind of a channel. Nonetheless, yes, I intend on putting these in the oven immediately after I take these out, which I should be probably taking out right about now, I would say. Especially since these baked in cast iron, 20 minutes should probably be enough. So, let's move this over a little bit so that the oven, so that I can open the oven door. And what do you say we take them out of the oven and find out what they look like? There we go. Oh yeah. I hope they're not too bad, since I did not take your advice on this, folks. Here's one. Ooh, yeah. Actually, it's very soft. It's hard for me to tell whether it's done or not. But it definitely expanded. There's no question about that. And also, since it's cast iron, technically it'll continue baking. Here's two. Ugh. And I had better. Oh man, look at this. I'm really not even sure if it's completely done. Hard for me to tell. I'm actually thinking maybe I should put these back in the oven. It's really hard to tell, but I think these things still seem a little bit too soft to be sufficient. So, okay. Who made those trivets? Okay, hold on. I think I'm going to put these out back in for about another 5 minutes because I don't trust myself. Sorry, folks.
You trust yourself? Who can you trust?
Yeah, hey, that's a good question. Maybe.
I'm gonna run up to CVS in a few minutes.
Yeah, okay. I don't think these are done yet, unfortunately.
Let me see.
Go ahead.
Which one? The shortbread?
Yes.
One side of them's definitely done.
You think so?
Look how brown they are.
Well, no, that's the gingerbread.
Oh.
Yeah.
Something's happening. Let me see. No.
No?
No, definitely not.
No.
Oh, no, definitely not.
No, okay, I'm putting it back in. I have to remember I'm only doing it at 325. In fact, especially because it's so low, maybe I should do another 10 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't know you were cooking so low.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely got to increase the time by a bunch.
Okay. All right, so yeah. As for who made these trivets, I don't know. I mean, like so many things, I came across these on The Hunt, and here's one here. Got a nice design to it. There's really not much. Oh, wait a second. Here's a sign. 1999, China. So this is a made in China trivet.
That's a really antique right there.
Yeah.
You gotta check out these 1991 ones. Are
Yes.
super antique. They're really hard to find. They're a rarity.
Yes. This one, on the other hand, I really like the appeal of this. The round way, this kind of actually makes me think of Cthulhu or Lovecraft because of the eye in the center and everything like that. This one, on the other hand, seems to have no markings on it whatsoever except for a number 2. So it is enameled, but I have no idea at all who made this one. Even so, one pan man. I have the John Wright log cabin mold. Ooh, that sounds good. Okay, and sweet takoyaki pan filled with sweet bean curd. Oh, that sounds pretty good, actually. Have 10 trivets, but none like that. I'd love to see the log cabin mold. Yeah, that would be nice, actually.
That sounds like the gingerbread mold, kind of. I wonder.
They will continue to cook. Look for brown around the edge. So
you pull out your gingerbread mold. That's what's like that.
James Ramsdale, cleaning up a large egg logo with 3 notches. Love finding these logo transitional pieces. Nice. I'm sorry?
Where's the gingerbread house mold?
It is right here on the top.
Why don't you show them that?
Okay, yeah, all right. I'll bring it.
That kind of goes with the whole theme, I think.
Okay, yeah. Give me a second to pull this one out. Actually, I have 2 of them, in fact. All right. Yeah, speaking of which, as somebody said, let's just show this off, shall we? Here is the Gingerbread House from John Wright. And man, is this thing heavy. It's actually 2-sided, too. So, yeah, but, well, yeah. Yeah, that's true. It sat up there for a while, unfortunately. So,
right next to main travel, really high on the Shore Road, and like 1 block over the highway, so we get dust.
Yes, we do get a lot of dust, I'm afraid.
It's
Yeah.
a losing battle.
I actually have 2 of these gingerbread house molds. One of them I found at Brimfield. And the other one, in fact, I inherited from my dad. So after he passed away, we cleaned out a lot of the family cast iron from the house, and one of the things that was there was one of these molds. So it means I actually have two of these. I am going to have to make another attempt at doing the gingerbread house.
This is good practice to find out how to make the cookies better.
Well, there is that. Yeah, actually, good point. I'll call that practice. The gingerbread house is pretty sweet. William Hurt. I think there was a superstar in the movies named Hurt. Yes, there was William Hurt. Oh yeah, he's been in a number of movies. I even remember him from things like broadcast news back in the 80s. No, yeah, in the 90s. In fact, that was a movie that came out. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, they are. So, and in fact, was it William Hurt? I think it was one of the bad guys in the Captain America movies. I think it was. No, there was Robert Redford as well. But anyway. I've often wondered if you clean up sad iron trivets as you clean up skillets. Yes, you do. They are made of cast iron, and there is no reason at all why you can't treat them exactly the way you would treat a cast iron skillet. You can use a lye tank. You can use E tank. You can use the oven cleaner in a garbage bag. Then you got to clean off the rust, and then you have to season them in the oven. And things like this are the result. Of course, that yeah, like you said, this is exactly why you can do the same thing as you do with a cast iron skillet. I could very well bake in this, and I probably should. This is, as most folks know, is the Griswold square egg skillet. Well, it certainly says so. In this case, my grandmother had one of these for her entire life. So, and naturally, that means I grew up with my grandmother making square eggs with this, and my mom, she grew up the same way too. When my grandmother passed on, one of my cousins got her cast iron. So I made a point of hunting this down and giving it to my mom as a present one year, to remind her of this. And then, well, mom passed away and I ended up inheriting back from her. So this is definitely very special. For the record, this is actually a 1960s Griswold. You can tell because it has the description on it, and it does square egg skillet. That's what Wagner did to manufacture, to all of their pans. So this is definitely a post 1957 Griswold skillet, when Griswold and Wagner were both being produced in the same foundry in Sydney. So that's one baking skillet. But as somebody else pointed out, I actually, he has one of those Star Wars skillets, the Darth Vader skillet, and there's no reason at all why you couldn't use those to make cookies as well. So, in fact, that's what they made him for last year. William Hurt, he made the Big Chill in my hometown the week I moved to Atlanta. Not enough room for two Williams. You could have walked onto the set. Who are you? William Hurt. Yeah, let me see some ID. Here you go. My Wi-Fi just came back. I've missed most of the show. Well, you can always watch the replay, Peg. I'm sorry for the difficulty there. Guy at work had a number 10 WAPIC, or some say WAPAC, I don't know, given to him. I cleaned it up and found a crack in it on the side. I hope he gets it welded and uses it. It's in great shape. Yeah, my condolences to him for that. I've often wondered if you clean up No, we said that part already. So. What type of S hook do you use on your rack? You stated earlier. On my rack, I had originally had some S hooks recommended by Jeff Rogers. In fact, he recommended these things that you can actually find at IKEA. They're called Gruntel or something like that. I tried them and found them to be too big for my rack. So I ended up getting a piece of chain from Home Depot, using a wire cutter, heavy duty, and actually snipping them into the right size to hang on the rack and hang skillets from them. And they worked pretty well. Peg tooth, reverse Rosie the Riveter. Hey, you could do that. There's no reason why not. That would be interesting in itself. Michelle Parker, Papa Dan, I have quite a few things you don't know about and probably never seen. Glad to hear your Papa's home. Definitely. Had to use paint stripper and a wire brush on mine. It had been painted. Oh, sorry about that. I might suggest using a lye tank with that one. Do you have the Wagner bacon and egg with 3 pieces on 3 squares, 1 piece? I've seen them in many places. I do not have it, only because I felt I would never really have a use for that skillet. Yes, it's very attractive, but I personally don't feel like I have much of a need for that. So that's why I have actually passed up on that. And likewise, the Lodge breakfast skillet that they just released a couple of years ago as well. So, and Dan Evilly also says, I make my own hooks. So, okay, now that we've done all that, yeah, I can definitely smell the cookies. I think it's time to check the cookies again. Thank you very much. That means let me get these out of the way here. And we will make attempt number 2.
Now I'm saying that, everybody, because I can smell them.
Yes. And if
she
can smell them, they're definitely done. Yeah. All right, well, here we go again. Thank you very much for your advice, everyone. Whoa. Getting steam on my glasses this time. That didn't happen before.
That means, yep, that's a good time.
Okay. Oh, damn it.
That's the fish. You poke the holes in this one.
Yeah. In fact, I gotta watch myself here. Better pull out the second glove. My bad.
So, as everyone was wondering, why did you poke holes? Well, as you see, like I pointed out, the reason why is because it releases the steam.
To be honest, I'm not sure if they can hear you from there. I'm sorry to say.
Well, when there was a question why to poke holes in it, as we mentioned, like to release the steam, and so there you go. That just shows because the fish one. Oh, you didn't put the fish one in.
Not
Did
yet.
you poke holes in the other ones?
No.
Oh, never mind. I'm lying. Don't lie to me. I lied. Don't listen to me. I lied.
Okay, here we go again. Here's one. I think I may have ruined this one. In fact, already pressed on. I think it's a little more solid on the bottom. I think this time it actually is done. So that's one.
I'm like, where have you been all day? Like, what's going on?
Here's 2. Yeah, despite the fact that it's still soft, it definitely feels much more solid. I think we are probably done this time. Okay, and finally, let me move this over for the moment and pull out number 3 before it gets overdone. Oh, yeah, great. Smart. Why don't I? And as it turns out, here is number 3. Let me rearrange these as best as I can. Okay. So we are off to a decent start at least. I hope the cookies are perfecto. Definitely they did rise. I will say that. And now let's go back to the oven again and put the fish one in. So we'll have still more cookies in a little bit. Oh yeah. Definitely. BSR designed that handy Dan pan so that the handle would make it more convenient. And I have to say, I think they were right. Still, here we are right now. We have to let these sit for a few minutes, but I think only a few minutes. I feel like I may have already crushed this, unfortunately. Well, all we can do is find out. Okay, these things are really, really hot. So let's see if I can organize this in such a way that they won't fall on the floor, and I can find room for the third one. I don't think there's enough room. How did I make it fit before? I don't even know. All right. Well, nonetheless, as I said, we have the third one, which I ended up.
You have the 2?
Yeah, no.
On right here.
And the third one I ended up putting in here.
Oh yeah, because they were all touching.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. So.
All right.
All right. Okay. So, I mean, they're still soft, but they're definitely more firm. So, even though I kind of pressed this one too hard, unfortunately. But I guess all we can do is see what happens once they cool off. So, are we going to leave them and let them cool off completely, or should we flip them while they are still warm?
No, you don't do that. Let them cool a bit.
Yeah, we're going to have to let them cool. All right, that means, that means unfortunately the live is probably going to end before these things come out of the pan. So,
not let them cool like that long. You let them cool some.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Well, we'll just keep talking for the moment. Anyway, see farther. I'd take the. Yes, I'm sure we will. So, James Ramsdale, rubber style bungee cords have the best hooks for hanging pans. Usually the tops and flat are galvanized or stainless steel. Well, there's an idea. Yeah, as somebody says, using a bungee cord, that is so cool. You can buy those hooks in the hardware section. And hey, Hetty, what's cooking? Hello, I am late to the party. I did want to suggest to close that. Use a new unused. What did I do? Oh, nothing. Okay, good. Sorry, I ended up opening another window. I ended up where is that? Suggested a new unused paintbrush to get the margarine in the crevices of the molds. Hey, that's not a.
We only have the silicone.
Yeah, but we only have a silicone basting brush here, unfortunately. So, just try one pan, wait for the others. Baker's treats. Okay. Yeah. See farther. I take the crumbs as I do in life. I'm sure those are still extraordinary. Yeah. Do you have about 80 volunteers? Yes, definitely. I noticed. I'm very glad that there are 82 people here, even now, even though we probably had almost twice as much last week during the giveaway, but that's life. I can't do a giveaway every week. So, yes. Yes, exactly. For the record, the next giveaway is probably going to be after the new year. And I've got an idea of what the next giveaway will be. But like I said, that's not going to be until after the holidays are over. So everybody can take a break for that. And Terry Sinchef, I've made hooks of chain links too. So Shadow Walker XM paint is such a pain. I passed on a pre-1850s cauldron because of the paint. Ugh. Yeah, exactly. So the best I might suggest regarding paint is, well, number one, check to see if it's lead paint. And then after that, soak it in lye for several weeks or even months. Just put it in there and forget about it. And then after a long, long time, you can take it out and then scrub it off, and that should take care of it. So nonetheless, as I mentioned, though, I mean, yeah. Well, just that. I mean, as I said, not everybody bakes in cast iron. I recognize that. Baking is an art in itself, and it's one that I've only just barely touched on. And I have a lot of practice to do regarding baking as well. That's one reason why I'm not even going to be decorating these cookies, unfortunately. I have not yet reached that level of expertise. Maybe one of these days. However, I'm still doing my best to try to get some use out of these baking pans. And besides, you never know what you're going to come across. I mean, heck, for instance, a couple of years ago, I was browsing through TJ Maxx about 4 days before Christmas, and I saw this, and I could not resist the temptation, especially since it was selling for $5 there at TJ Maxx. So, and definitely about all you can do with this is bake in it, because if you try frying with it, well, you're not going to have a lot of luck. So since then, I've been keeping an eye in TJ Maxx to see if I might actually be able to find another one, because I think having a pair of these would be very, very nice. Okay. And you can buy those hooks in the hardware section. Yes. Chill pan and spray with coconut oil. Well, there's another possibility. Put the pans outside to cool. I totally forgot to watch last Wednesday. Well, okay. Yeah. Val's Black Cat's rules. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Did anyone else try out you tried out the fruitcake recipe. Oh, awesome. Thank you very much, Fryman. That's really, I really, really am what's a good word? Touched, I guess. Really, really am proud when somebody actually tries one of my recipes, and even more so if they like it. I'm really glad you like the fruitcake, and yeah, I'm quite proud of it too. So, and I'm very much open to criticism regarding any of my recipes, in that I do want to try to improve them, all of them, whether it's the fruitcake or the Boston baked beans or anything. So, peg 2, copper plating metal is super easy if someone wants a contrast with the hooks. There's certainly one possibility. Okay. Um, though again, as far as baking in cast iron goes, I mean, this is something of a learning curve, because a lot of folks say, you in a lot of instances you probably have to lower the oven temperature to compensate for the fact that the cast iron actually gets hot enough to bake these cookies as well. That's one reason why I baked these at 325, and even though they were not done yet at 20 minutes, by 30 minutes, I would say these things are most likely done, especially since them off now, they're definitely starting to feel more firm, so to speak. So I am really looking forward to seeing the results here. I will have to, these gingerbread cookies look like they could pop out of the pan right now. And yeah, in fact, if you like. So I think we've got a plan then. All right, let me move these things here to the side, and that's good. It'll give me something to do rather than stand here and talk. Not that I mind standing here and talking, but I'm sure folks want to see some action. There I go again with the suggestive adult stuff. Okay, let me see. How are we going to do this one? Let me move this over here. Clang, clang, clang. And we can move this over here onto the stove. Carefully. We can move this one. That's how we'll do it. Don't be a fool, you idiot. There we are. Good grief, I wonder how that happened. Okay, let's put this one over here. No, I can't do that because there's still heat coming from the stove. Need to cool that off. Okay. All right, let me just move this over here. Give me a second, please, folks. I'm sorry for the delay again. Okay, yeah, this will have to do for now. All right. And finally, come on, you bugger. There we go. Here is the gingerbread man. Okay, let's move this to one side. Oh, yeah, that's definitely still hot, though. However, there's no time. Well, there are other times besides the present, but let's see what happens right now if we just poke it with a fork. Guess what? That's okay. Let's get a close-up of this. I'm sure folks would want to see a close-up here. There we go. Maybe even lower this a little bit. Like about here, for instance. There we go. That's not good. That might be a little better. So that, as you can see, if I poke it like this, I do believe we are in luck here. And notice as well, we don't seem to be seeing that much sticking, do we? Oh, look at that. Which means, I guess there's really only one thing to do. Let's move this to one side. Carefully. And let's have a go at it. And this time I think I'll read your comments before I actually do anything else. Roadside assistance guy. I didn't get a chance to see what those cookies are actually on the camera device, I guess you'd call it. I hope I get a chance to see a good view of it. After the live, I'm getting busy with my deer. I need to try the fruitcake too, says Val's Cafe. Okay, well, yeah, this is definitely hot, but no time like the present. But Wow, look at that. It just fell right out. Jamie, take a look at these. 1, 2, 3,
Nice.
4, 5.
No, my buttons. No, my gumdrop buttons.
Eat me. Okay.
No, Muffin Man.
Yeah.
You meant the
Yeah.
Muffin Man.
Okay. I'll tell. Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man? The Muffin Man. Yes, I know the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane. Well, she's married to the Muffin Man. The Muffin Man. The Muffin Man. She's married to the Muffin Man. Yeah. Yes, you can. Anyway, so far, this actually looks pretty darn good here. Not bad at all. And again, this was made in a John Wright baking mold. So yeah, I'm actually quite happy with this. You know, a lot of the pros really gripe about the fact that it still has an edge and that you would need to actually trim this to have a perfect gingerbread man. I'm just happy that this thing worked at all. So I am really quite happy that we've got ourselves a gingerbread man, which also means I've got to call Jamie in because, you know, we've got to taste test these. You're good right now? Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Nonetheless. What do you think? She says it's delicious. Well, thank you so much. I guess all I can do. There we go. Mm. Oh yeah. Good grief. Terry Sinchev. YouTube just censored that comment. It gave me the option to show or hide it, so I chose to show it. Terry Sinchev said, "Go ahead and bite the head off. I know you want to." No head. He's gone. Yeah, this is pretty good.
Do you have any of that premium ice cream that comes in the tubes? No, we don't have any of this stuff, do we?
We might.
I was gonna decorate one real quick. Put the little X's on his legs. Break up his legs, put the little X's on him.
Yeah, gingerbread man for the giveaway. Is the 6 gingerbread men for the giveaway. I don't think they're gonna last that long. This came out pretty good, and there's a pretty good recipe too. So we are definitely off to a start here.
All right, I'm gonna say goodbye, everybody.
Okay, yeah, we are getting into time anyway. So, oh, okay, well there is that.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, Jamie actually has to go and get a prescription. All right, but anyway, so as I said, here's our starter. We've done some baking here in a John Wright baking mold, which, as I said, I do not see enough of this. I would really hope this may encourage some folks to do some baking. Even if you don't have one of these John Wright molds, which are actually fairly easy to find and not expensive, well, not too expensive. Even if you don't have these, just pull out one of your own cast iron pans and go ahead and do some baking in it, whether it's in a skillet or a Dutch oven or a cornbread pan, you know, an 8-wedge cornbread pan. You could even make little Christmas trees with those. This again was not too hard. The dough was very, very easy to put together. You can find a gingerbread.
When you got home, both of them.
Yeah.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was getting out all the ingredients and putting all the stuff away.
Yes, it took about 45 minutes to make 2 batches of dough, one of which, about a quarter of it, is still in the fridge, in fact. So it is so easy to do that even if folks are a little timid about making it from scratch, there's no reason why you couldn't use store-bought cookie dough mix.
And even that 45 minutes even includes us trying to tweak the gingerbread mix.
Yeah.
We're going to tell them about that,
too. Yeah, the 45-minute, yes.
The moisture.
The initial batch of this was actually kind of dry, unfortunately, the dough. And we got the idea of mixing in some vegetable oil to make it more moist. So here's another idea for cookies. Get some pie crusts from the store. Thaw them out. And there you go. You have got balls of dough that you can put into these baking molds and make your own. So that, which again shows you just how easy it is. Oh, don't forget the fishes. Thank you so much. You know, I almost forgot the fishes, which are still in the oven at this point. I'd better pull these out here before calling it a night. So, yes, you are right. I almost ruined that. I can't smell anything yet. Let me take a.
The air's already permeated. Why?
Well, there is that. They are permeated. They've definitely risen. I will say that. Let me pull them out and then let's test this. Oh yeah, definitely. This handle makes it really, really easy to handle these things. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Really, this is much easier. I definitely am very happy about that. But let me see. I think they're still soft, like it or not. They should probably been.
Listen, it's okay though, because sometimes we, like a chocolate chip cookie.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We can have them a little undercooked. No, they're fine.
You think so?
Yeah, because they'll be soft.
All right. Well, there is that.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me give these guys a close up here. Yeah, these are the ones we made, and drop the tops of these. So thank you very much for the suggestions for making those. Oh, you took a couple of them out. Nice, nice, beautiful. Yeah. Wow. I like this elephant in particular. Here, take.
I knew it. I was right. Where's the rhino?
This one's an elephant.
It's a rhinoceros.
Mm-hmm.
And the camel.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. They got a little bit of the lighter dough in them, so that's why they're a little stained. But hey, that's okay.
There's a bird.
And somebody's knocking at the door, unfortunately. Okay. And here's one of the shortbread. Look at this.
These you get. Yeah, these you can't. These are sticking a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Then you better.
These ones, it's different consistency.
Leave them where they are.
Yeah. So this one's eaten.
Oh,
nice.
How did it taste? Okay. Well, really glad to hear that. So far so good. Anyway, I'm definitely giving a thumbs up to these John Wright baking molds, and I guess that's really the best I can suggest at this point. So the cream cheese icing would be good with those. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, this all looks like it turned out pretty darn good. And I can only thank everybody for watching this. And if nothing else, and thank you again for the advice, for scraping the tops and poking them and pressing them down with a rolling pin, which I should have done with the first batch. And yet, the first batch still turned out pretty good nonetheless. So there's very little to complain about here, I think. Are those John Wright molds vintage? They were made during the 1980s to the early 1990s. The John Wright Company made them for about 10 years and then stopped making them because they were not best sellers. All right, see you later, Jamie. Yeah. Okay. They were not best sellers, unfortunately, because if they were, you can bet they would have continued producing them. And the fact that they made so many of them and you can still find them easily, even after 30 to 40 years, that shows you, unfortunately, that they did not sell as well as they would have liked. Yet, so are they vintage? Well, 30 to 40 years, now I guess you could say they are vintage. So, yeah, because vintage is not as new as it used to be. And roadside assistance guy, I shared this tonight, so I hope all my friends watch it. Talk to everybody later. Well, thank you very much. So, and yeah, I'd say this has actually been a pretty successful batch here. I really like how these turned out. And again, 80s and 90s molds. I think probably no more than the early 90s. But this, I guess, is a look at just that, at some cast iron that we see a lot, but I'm not so sure it's used as much as it should be. And I'm hoping this really encourages folks to try doing some baking of your own, whether or not it's in a John Wright mold, whether it's in a fish mold. You could use your cornbread pans, for instance, instead of making cornbread, or continue making cornbread along with cornbread. Make some of these cookies in your cornbread pans. Your corn stick pans, for instance. You can make them in cake molds, or however you do it. Just go ahead and give it a try. Have some fun and do it. Use those Walmart cookie skillets that you got and used once. Go ahead and bring them out and make cookie dough and make some cookies in them. So kids would love them. Oh, you can bet they would too. They would really get a kick out of things like this. Here's the camel again. And here's the hippopotamus. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. There was a song like that, and I don't know the lyrics to it, but nonetheless, okay. But I'd say we've done pretty good. And yeah, Dave Evely, good night until next week. Enjoy the cast. Yeah, we are getting on in time. There's no denying that. And I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover. So once again, though, I can only thank everybody, and I hope this has been interesting enough for you to, well, keep watching. Thank you to everybody who has shown up and continues to show up, and thank you for chatting, and thank you for the advice. So try baking a loaf of almost no knead sourdough bread baked in a Dutch oven. Oh, congratulations for that. I can't pronounce your name. Clicquot, I think it is. So, and could make more merch. I always see those couple random things from spring. Oh yeah, that's right. I made an attempt at doing merch, and it was a half-hearted attempt. Now I should really, I suppose, get down to really trying it, but it's hard to think of what kind of theme would go with this. Well, that's something to consider. Pop a fish out before you end. Okay, let's see what happens. It is soft. It is very, very soft. These things, yeah. If I pop this out, I can feel it already. It's going to break. In fact, I'm wondering if it might even be stuck. I'm sorry to say. Yeah, this is definitely not done yet, unfortunately. This is not, I'm sorry to say, I think these fish might even stick, regrettably. I'm going to have to carefully pry at it with a, yeah, too bad, too soft, but thanks for trying. Yeah, exactly. That's all I can do is keep trying. Most of these were pretty successful, though. But still, there we go. And thank you so much, everybody. And thank you, William Hertz. And again, Sam Cook, I will be packing up your cake pan tomorrow for shipping. And which reminds me, a couple of folks on this chat as well. I do want to send you a couple of messages as well for folks like Paw Paw Dan and Peg Tooth and William Hurt, for instance, and probably Terry Sinchef as well. Either drop me a message on Facebook, or I will drop you a message, and you'll see about that within the next day or so. And yeah, we are indeed getting into that time of year. So everybody, just relax. Christmas is almost here, and one way or another, it will be here and it will be past. So just enjoy yourselves. And having said that, I think we're all set here. Thank you, everybody, much for showing up. And as I always like to say when I say goodnight, see you all next Wednesday. Have a good evening. Good night, everyone.